The cameras flashed, the crowd froze, and just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession.
Yeah, but this time it's a story that was kept entirely in the dark.
Right. Welcome to StarScope Report. Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
We really do. And today's story is heavy.
Our mission today is a deep dive into the explosive fallout of the Gosselin family, and specifically looking at this headline, Kate Gosselin Stays Silent, as Collin's memoir nears release.
Which is just, I mean, the silence speaks volumes right now.
Exactly. So for you, the listener, we have a really fascinating stack of sources we're pulling from today. We've got celebrity news reports from Us Weekly, Cafe Mom, Parade, some really intense social media deep dives, and a pretty mind-blowing academic paper from Ball State University.
Yeah, that paper compares modern reality TV to, like, historical freak shows. It's intense.
It really is. But before we get into it, I need to put a very clear impartiality disclaimer out there. The sources we're discussing today contain some really serious, highly charged allegations of child abuse and parental alienation.
Right.
So we want to explicitly clarify that we are impartially reporting the claims provided in the source material. We're not taking sides. We're not endorsing either viewpoint. We're just unpacking what's in these documents.
Which is important because, you know, we're watching a massive cultural shift in how these stories are even told.
Right. So let's look at how Collin is telling his story right now. We have to start with his recent Instagram post, which was just absolutely savage.
Oh, it was so calculated.
Yes. So Collin is 22 now, and he goes on his Instagram stories and shares a news headline about his mom, Kate, quote-unquote, spiraling, ahead of his memoir release. But, you know, he didn't just share it.
No, he made a very specific visual choice.
He blurred her face out entirely, deliberately obscured it, and then attached this quote from a fan that said, "What's done in darkness will always come to light."
I mean, think about what blurring someone's face signifies in media, right? It's a literal erasure.
Yeah.
For his whole childhood, Collin's image was completely controlled by network editors, producers, his parents. He had literally zero say in how his face was shown.
So now he's weaponizing the very editing techniques they used on him.
Exactly. He's putting himself in the editor's booth. He seized the director's chair.
Wow, that is a great way to look at it. And to add to that cinematic feel, he paired this post with a Hans Zimmer track.
Oh, day one, right?
Yes, from Interstellar. It's this intense, ticking, building music. It honestly felt like a movie trailer for a thriller.
Because he knows, like, his life was consumed as entertainment. So he's using the tools of entertainment, the soundtrack, the suspense, to, you know, dismantle that exact empire.
And the main event he's building toward is his memoir. It's coming out October 13, 2026.
In the Shadow of 8, Surviving the Reality of My Childhood.
Which is such a haunting title. And the allegations coming out in the promo material and his interviews are just horrifying. He claims he was repeatedly held down.
Yeah, the details are really tough to read.
He describes being kept in a basement cell, basically hidden away. And he talks about being forced to take antipsychotics when he was just 11 years old.
Right, which is just a cocktail of heavy, heavy drugs for a kid.
And wait, he also brought up zip ties in a YouTube interview recently. He literally challenged Kate to take a lie detector test about using them on him.
The specificity of these claims is what makes them so potent right now in the public eye. Kate has denied all of this for years, obviously.
Right, completely denied it. But the detail that really stopped me in my tracks was about her journal. Collin claims that Kate wrote in her diary that she had to, quote, pray to God to stop hitting me.
Wow.
And he says that entry was from when he was 2 years old.
I mean, if these claims are bypassing the usual media gatekeepers and going straight to the public, that's a massive shift.
That's exactly my question for you. Like, if you watched this show in the early 2000s, you were sold this very neat narrative. Kate was the stressed but heroic supermom. Right?
Yeah, and any kid crying was just a normal tantrum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now social media is this giant digital megaphone.
Yeah.
How does that shift the power dynamic for former child reality stars?
Well, it democratizes the truth. In the early days, the network and the parents held an absolute monopoly on the narrative. The kids had no voice.
Right.
But now that digital megaphone allows the kids, the collateral damage of the show, basically, to become the authors of their own reality. They bypass the PR teams and the executives entirely.
And that's not even the wildest part. Wait until you hear how this childhood trauma just derailed his biggest adult dream.
Because the fallout isn't just, Instagram drama. It's real life. We have to talk about his institutionalization.
Right. When Collin was around 11 or 12, Kate sent him away to a behavioral health facility. And she didn't hide it.
No, she gave a statement to People magazine.
Yeah, claiming he had multiple psychiatric diagnoses and unpredictable behavior. She framed it as this tragic but necessary step for everybody's safety.
But the reality of that step is that Collin was locked in that facility for over 2 years. 2 years entirely separated from his siblings and the world.
I'm struggling to understand how this legally happened. So John Gosselin, the dad, he eventually gets a letter from Collin begging for help.
Yeah, a smuggled letter.
Right. And John claims he had to spend $1 million in legal fees to get his own son out, finally winning full custody in 2018. If Kate put him there voluntarily, how does the system allow $1 million tug of war over a kid's freedom?
It's a terrifying reality about parental rights. If a parent has primary medical custody in many places, they can voluntarily commit a minor with very little external oversight.
So she didn't need, like, a court order?
Nope. And for the other parent to fight it, they have to prove in family court that it's medically unnecessary,
Right.
which means subpoenaing records, hiring outside psychiatrists, and basically fighting this grueling, expensive legal battle.
Which explains the $1 million price tag.
Exactly.
And Collin's own theory about why he was sent away is incredibly dark. He told the U.S. Sun that he was just stubborn enough to question his mom. He called the show her circus.
Right. He was the one kid who wouldn't just comply.
Yeah, he theorizes she institutionalized him to save her reputation. Like, it was easier to sign work permits for 7 compliant kids than deal with one who was questioning the whole operation.
Which brings us to the real-world consequence that just happened. Because, these reality TV decisions don't just stay in childhood.
No, they really don't. So Collin recently revealed he was discharged from the Marine Corps.
Which was his ultimate dream, right?
His absolute dream. He was right at the end of training, about to graduate boot camp. But the military dug into his paperwork, found his record of being institutionalized as a minor, and discharged him.
Just because of the paper trail.
Just the paperwork. They didn't care about his boot camp performance. They didn't want his side of the story. The mere fact that the record existed ended his military career permanently.
It's devastating. It's a prime example of how actions taken for brand management can leave a permanent mark on a child's future.
So given all this, you'd think there would be massive lawsuits happening right now. But Kate is taking a very different approach.
Oh, yeah, the TikTok comments.
Yes. She's in her TikTok comments explaining why she isn't suing. She says she consulted a, quote, high-power LA attorney, but claims she can't sue Collin for defamation because she's a public figure.
Right, she said the courts don't honor it if you're in the public eye.
Is that actually true legally, or is it just a convenient excuse to avoid a courtroom?
Well, it's a bit of both, but mostly a convenient shield. In the U.S., public figures do have a higher burden of proof. They have to prove actual malice.
Meaning they have to prove the person knew it was a lie.
Exactly, which is hard. But the real reason, if Kate sues Collin, she opens herself up to the legal discovery process.
Oh, meaning Collin's lawyers get to subpoena everything.
Precisely. Diaries, medical records, network outtakes. She could be deposed under oath. A defamation suit would literally force the truth into the public record.
So she's framing it as a legal roadblock, but it's really a PR retreat.
100%.
So instead of fighting this, she's living this totally different life now. She's a pediatric home health nurse in North Carolina.
Which is quite the pivot.
And she constantly posts about her rescue dogs, saying she's in her German Shepherd dog mom era.
Oh, and in those same comments, she complains that her TV fortune was completely drained by lawyer fees.
It's just a surreal contrast from the height of the media empire she used to run.
Hey, if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead. Because the collateral damage here doesn't stop with Collin.
Not at all. The whole family unit is fractured.
Right. According to celebrity news reports and all these Reddit deep dives, 6 of the 8 kids do not speak to John. And Collin has 0 contact with Kate.
The reality TV machine just shattered them into rival factions? Let's look at Mady, one of the 25-year-old twins. She is actively defending Kate on TikTok. She blasted what she called the damaged child star narrative, saying Collin's claims are harmful to her and her siblings' futures.
And back in 2023, didn't she accuse him of some pretty awful things?
Yeah, she accused him of physical violence and hate speech.
See, you can understand Matey's defensive posture from a purely survival standpoint. She's trying to operate in the professional world as an adult.
Right, she wants a normal life.
Exactly. And if the entire foundation of her upbringing is deemed toxic, that threatens her own stability and narrative.
But then, on the flip side, you have Hannah. She lives with John and Collin. And while she occasionally leaves nice comments on Kate's posts, her core memories completely validate Collin.
She went on the Today Show, right?
Yeah. She said she vividly remembers Collin being separated from them. He wasn't allowed to play outside, and he was forced to eat dinner at different times.
This is where the psychology of these environments gets so fascinating. How do kids raised in the exact same house experience completely different realities?
Because they were just trying to survive.
Exactly. Trauma makes siblings encode different memories. For some, aligning with the parent in power, Kate was the safest bet. For others, aligning with the outcast became their truth.
Because it wasn't just a home. It was a workplace.
A highly pressurized workplace.
And we actually just saw that pressure play out in real time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Kate's Mother's Day and 22nd birthday celebration for the sex couplets this year.
Oh, the TikTok montage.
Yes. She posted this video with just 4 of them: Alexis, Aiden, Leah, and Joel. And it is just a portrait of absolute chaos.
It really pulls back the curtain, doesn't it?
It totally does. First, Leah totals her SUV on the way to pick up Kate, smashes the front of it. Thankfully, everyone was okay, but the tension is already there.
Right.
Then they get home to bake Kate's traditional chocolate cake, which she claims she's done for 20 years. And the cake just completely crumbles when she frosts it.
Literally falls apart.
So they make a second one, and that one fails too. Kate even wrote on the video, not even Baker Leah could fix it.
It's almost too on the nose.
Right. They end up sitting on the couch, and she declares a little fill-in-the-blank book was the best gift ever.
It's tragically poetic that crumbling cake is the perfect metaphor for the Gosselin brand right now.
She's trying so hard to produce this picture-perfect traditional family scene for her audience. But the reality is messy, fractured, prone to disaster, and just falling apart.
It just can't hold the frosting of that old television narrative anymore.
Exactly. And, later in this deep dive, we'll talk about the shocking historical twist that proves this isn't the first time a family of multiples was exploited for mass entertainment.
Because this isn't just a reality TV problem, it's a historical phenomenon.
Yes. So, to really understand this, we have to look at this academic paper from Ball State University by Amory Orchard. It compares the Goslins to the Dion quintuplets.
The Dion story is just wild.
It's unbelievable. They were born in the 1930s in Canada. Their parents tried to exhibit them in Chicago for money when they were babies. So the Canadian government stepped in, deemed the parents unfit, and put the girls in a specialized hospital to save them.
But then the hospital basically turned into an amusement park.
Literally. They called it Quintland.
Yeah, for 9 years, the government let people pay admission to watch these little girls play behind one-way glass. 3 times a day, millions of tourists came to stare at them.
I know they eventually got a $2.8 million settlement in the 90s, but their childhoods were completely stolen.
Entirely stolen.
So how does this paper connect the Dions in the 1930s to the Goslins in the 2000s? The paper uses this term, freakification. Can we unpack that? Because it sounds like academic jargon, but the meaning is intense.
Absolutely. Freakification is basically this human psychological impulse to stare at things that are biologically or socially unconventional.
Like a sideshow.
Right. Society is transfixed by huge families of multiples because they exaggerate the traditional nuclear family. It's an overwhelming version of normal.
And both sets of kids were just turned into commodities.
Yes. They were objects bought, sold, and consumed by the public just for entertainment.
But if they were just presented as a spectacle, wouldn't the audience feel guilty for staring? Like, how did the editors make us feel okay about the voyeurism?
By wrapping it in fiercely traditional gender roles.
Oh, this is exactly what the paper pointed out.
Yeah.
In the Diana's 1938 movie, Five of a Kind, there's this scene where the tiny girls are all lined up in matching outfits, washing their baby dolls, feeding them, tucking them in.
Orchard said it looked like an assembly line of little girls being trained to obey cultural norms.
And then the paper jumps to the Goslins. In an episode called A Day in the Life, one of the 7-year-old twins is shown bossing the younger kids around using Kate's exact mannerisms.
Or the Boys' Day Out episode.
Oh my gosh, yes. There's this scene where a 4-year-old boy tries to get in the van to go pottery painting with the girls. And John literally carries him away, kicking and screaming, forcing him to go to the golf course.
Because these are conscious choices by producers in the editing bay. They take a chaotic, unconventional family and force it into easily digestible gender roles.
It makes the audience feel comfortable while they consume the kids.
Exactly.
Okay, I have to push back here, though. Thinking about toddlers being dragged away, kicking and screaming.
Mm.
How is this legal? We have child labor laws in the U.S.
You'd think the Fair Labor Standards Act, the FLSA, would protect them, right?
Yeah.
But the paper brings up a study in the Akron Law Review showing a massive legal loophole. The FLSA does not protect children on reality shows.
Wait, how? The whole point of reality TV is that they aren't acting, they're just living.
Yeah.
How can a crying toddler bypass labor laws?
Because of a loophole created back in the Shirley Temple era, there is an exemption for an quote-unquote actor or performer.
So they classify them as performers.
Yes, legal gymnastics. And it allows guardians like John and Kate, or the Canadian government for the Dions, to legally consent to grueling filming schedules for the kids.
And they keep the money.
Exactly. They keep the massive profits, with almost no requirement to put it in a trust for the kids' futures.
That is deeply unsettling.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at all this, the loopholes, the editing, the public consumption, I have a really dark analogy for you.
Okay, let's hear it.
Are modern reality TV contracts and our TV screens just the modern-day equivalent of the one-way glass at Quintland? Like, are we the viewers at home, just the tourists at the carnival?
It's uncomfortable, but it's highly accurate. The physical distance of a screen triggers less empathy in our brains.
We don't see them as real kids.
No, we see them as characters. The paper cites a scholar, Guy Debord, who says when life becomes mere representation, our empathy subsides. We demand drama, we demand storylines, and our attention fuels the exploitation. We are absolutely the tourists at the glass.
Wow. So to sum all of this up, the Gosselin saga is so much more than tabloid fodder about a messy divorce. It's a cautionary tale about the permanent human cost of commodifying a family.
It really is.
You've got a mother using her public figure status to dodge legal discovery, a father paying $1 million to rescue his son from a psychiatric ward, a kid whose military dreams were ruined by that medical record, and siblings whose memories are so fractured they don't even speak.
The scars are structural. It's the inevitable fallout when a family's existence is monetized. The pressure just shatters the foundation.
And that leaves us with a final, really provocative thought for you to mull over. We look at the Goslins or the Dions and we think, oh, that was the era of cable TV or old-timey sideshows. We know better now.
Right, but do we?
Exactly. Look at today. We have this massive explosion of family vloggers and sharenting on YouTube and TikTok.
No, the family channels are everywhere.
Parents are filming their kids' meltdowns, their medical procedures, their private lives, and monetizing it for millions of views every single day.
And that same FLSA loophole, classifying them as performers, largely still exists in many states.
So who is protecting this generation of kids? Are we going to be reading a massive wave of memoirs just like Collin's in another 10 years?
We're probably building a whole new Quintland just on the screens of our phones.
It's definitely something you need to think about the next time you scroll past a viral family video. You've been listening to StarScope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.